Hello, and how are you? It is Butterfly, and I have been talking about the court cards. Right now, we're making our way through the swords. This is a video for the King of Swords. So, let's get right into it. Of course, we've been talking about the swords, as you see right here. And swords, it has to do with intellect, with mental acuity, with concentration, with anything that has to do with knowledge, planning. Of course, the initial stages of knowledge, which are planning, are more seen in the page. The execution of the knowledge would be swiftly done in a very action-packed way with the knight. The mature queen would be evaluating and assessing, directing and communicating quite clearly. And the king, well, he has a different role with knowledge. He is the intellectual. He is comfortable being in his intellectual world. He also has a sense of creativity. He, just like the queen, is inspiring, though he will do his inspiring through challenges. The queen will inspire you to create, but the king is inspiring you through challenging your ideas, and he will give you challenges. So he's also one to do research, but he's quite knowledgeable because he's been doing research all of his life. He's the person who is analytical. So if this card comes up for you in a reading, when you're reading for yourself, this may show you or point out to you your analytical skills. Or if you were bringing a query, a question to the table for the tarot, it may call upon you to use your analytical skills to dissect the problem or to look at things in a different way. Let's see. He, like the queen, is keen on communication. He will argue and debate, but he's also very good at solving problems, and he will do it quite quickly. He is one to make decisions, render decisions based on analysis, and renders them very decisively. He's absolute. He will usually be the person who is selected to be the spokesperson for a group. He is a person of moral character, ethical. He is a leader. So if you were reading for yourself, these are the characteristics that are being, called upon for you. This is the card that will also call upon your skills for law and order, to follow rules. The king is not necessarily, well, he is the one who will follow rules, but he's also the maker of the rules, the decider. He is deciding what the rules are. He's the manager, and he executes the rules. So he will be telling you what rules you will be following, and you'll be expected to follow suit because he is the manager. He's the one who will take action. And the action that he does is not like the one where the knight is taking action, where the knight will get on his horse and actually put the rules into execution. The king is the one who is making the rules, and he will decide how things are going to take action. Of course, this takes a lot of confidence. So this is a card that shows confidence, experience, maturity, and this also, again, because it's one of the upper levels of the court cards with the sword, there's traditionally an interpretation of the lack of feeling, the lack of compassion, the lack of being empathic to another person. So it's basically all heady. And as I've said with the queen, when those sort of things come up, in a reading, I tend to look at the things that are the cards that are around. So if you're only relying on a one card reading, that is where you're looking at a very heady person without any balance or tempering with, explaining yourself with diplomacy and compassion for other people. The King of Swords will say things and be curt and short and brief and absolute and decisively. But of course, I like to look at somebody who is in a managerial position with, and temper it with the cards that are around it. Do you have only swords around it? That might be, a clue to that you're looking at things very with being emotionally removed from the situation. But if there are cups and other cards around, that would lead me to believe perhaps there's a bit more of a balance in the way that you would express yourself. So, I take that in a bit of consideration with the cards in context. That the cards that are beside it, you have to put each card in its context. This card may also indicate some competition or an obstacle that lies ahead. Now, of course, if this is you reading for yourself, that is naturally something that you are going to be looking at. If you see here, this is different from the other sort of page and the night, where the trees were being swayed to the side, and even with the night, you had clouds that were being blown. That was a lot of indication of wind and action and movement in there. Here with the king, everything is quite stagnant, standing tall and unmoving. He's looking straight ahead, dead on, and unwavering. So this is not the person you're going to be negotiating with. This is not the person who you can make a plea to. He's heard all of the evidence. He's heard everything that's before him, and his action is, his decision is such and such, and now that he's taken everything into consideration and he's making decisions. So it's up for you to kind of look at the cards that you're interpreting in front of you, whether it's for yourself or for a querent, and see what that means in relation to the cards around it, but also whether the king is actually aspects of yourself or aspects of someone else. I, as I've said before, tend to look at the cards, every card, as something that I need to know more about myself. And so all of the aspects that are being brought forth from the King of Swords, these are for instance, these are the skill set or the tools that I need to bring to the table to resolve the issue that I'm, asking about, the reason for which I'm making a spread. So this card shows the position of being boss, being in a position of authority. This is a person who is articulate, confident, communicative, and can articulate very well and with skill, and they're good at their job. This is also about math and science and what makes sense, and it is the rule of law. When you establish rules and reinforce them, this would be an example of you using the energy of the King of Swords. The archetype of the military soldier who follows or establishes rules and executes rules, that would be the King of Swords. Also, the scientist who's analytical and very good at their job, that would be the energy of the King of Swords. Shadow aspects of the King of Swords would be taking all of those skill sets and bringing them to a damaging sort of degree, like being tyrannical or bullying, using that sharp tongue and being, causing some harm to someone else. So you may want to ask yourself, in the situation which you were bringing to the table, are you being stern or overbearing? Are you being cruel? So those might be some of the aspects from a shadow self that can come to the table. And of course, as with every card, it's all about self-exploration. So this is about looking at yourself and about where you place yourself, where you want to be in your life, how you want to reach and achieve your goals, and asking yourself questions about where you are in relationship to other people as well. So let's look quickly here at the Myers-Briggs Personality Inventory. And in Kim Huggins' book, Tarot 101, on page 228, she will describe the King of Swords as being a Myers-Briggs inventory profile. She will describe it as an ENTJ. So that's the extrovert, the intuitive, the thinking, and judgmental. In Mary Greer's book, where did I put this? Understanding the Court Tarot, on page 67, the chart that she puts there will refer to 3 profiles, and all 3 of the profiles they describe for the King of Swords are the same. Greer, Riley, and Walters all agree that the King of Swords is an ESTJ. An extrovert, sensing, thinking, and judgmental. So they differ a little bit in Kim Huggins' opinion on that. Kim Huggins had put it as an ENTJ, so the N and the S are the intuitive and the sensing are the only differing aspects of the personalities. And when I look in Kim Huggins' book, what she described as the ESTJ would be the Knight of Swords. So the 2 of them, being male court cards, can be seen as interchangeable. And of course, it's up to you to look at the personality profiles if you're interested in the Myers-Briggs and see where you might place them in relation to all of the court cards. At any rate, I hope this was insightful, helpful, fun. And I hope that it was helpful in some way. I will look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care and have a great day.